Cosplay, Menschen, Hintergründe. Alles zusammen, nur wo? Hoodie Place ist zurück mit einem neuen Interview. Wieder live on air, nur für euch. Hier der Mensch hinter dem Mic und mit dem Mic. Ollie.
Welcome back, Hoodies. Long time ago for English viewers after the German intro. Hey guys, hier ist Ollie. Willkommen zurück und hier ist der Hoodie Place. Ja, hat zwar etwas gedauert, aber jetzt sind wir zurück, ihr Lieben, und zwar mit Ausgabe 36, 10. Gast für Hoodie Place. Wahnsinn. Und zwar der legendäre Drexler, der bei Star Trek die Make-up-Artist gemacht hat, das und die Schiffe natürlich und auch so viel gemacht hat und so viel zu diesem einzigartigen Franchise, wie ich es ja nenne, dazu beigetragen hat. Es ist unglaublich. Wir haben ein tolles einstündiges Interview knapp geführt. Also, ich sag nur, hört rein. Es lohnt sich auch für die, die nicht so gut Englisch können. Ihr werdet es sicher verstehen, weil es ziemlich einfach ist. Daher sage ich viel Spaß. Now for English use. Hello, guys. Here's Ollie from Hoodie Place, and this is Oscar. Sorry, there's the podcast episode 3.7, you know, and 10 guests for 5 years Hoodie Plus, and then Drexler, the legendary makeup artist and created Do Something stuff on Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica and so many other productions. I enjoyed the interviews, was legendary. I'm very thankful to speak with him, and he had joined our podcast. So, live long and prosper. Let's go, Trekkies. Hoodies, we are back. Monday, 2020, and I have so much honor to announce this awesome special guest, the legendary Doug Drexler. Hello, Doug. How are you doing?
Wow, I'd like to meet Doug. Drexler's going to be here today. Holy cow! I actually, he's a real bastard. I've met him. He's a bad man. Only kidding. Yeah. I am Doug Drexler. In fact,
yeah, and live. Cheers. How are you? How are you in this crisis, Doug?
Well, I haven't left the house in 5 weeks, and loving it.
Yeah, really loving it.
Yeah. It's great. First of all, I don't get bored. I never get bored.
Okay.
I've always got something, going. I'm here with Dorothy, and Dorothy makes it like heaven for me. So why would I ever want to leave the house? There's almost no reason to leave.
Yeah. Dorothy made the food for Star Trek.
Yeah. I started posting her videos.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Quarantine cuisine.
Yeah. It's really great. You are so much artist. You have so many skills. But the greatest thing that you made is Star Trek. How came this? How you joined Star Trek? So.
Well, I mean, I had been in the business about 11 years, I guess, before I got onto Star Trek as a makeup artist.
Yeah.
And I started on the East Coast in New York, working with a guy named Dick Smith.
Okay.
If you've never heard of him, check him out. He's probably the greatest makeup artist who ever lived. He did The Exorcist and Little Big Man and Amadeus, and he really is one of the greatest character makeup artists ever. And I started getting interested in makeup and reading everything I could, and I found out about this guy. He did creatures and monsters, but it was his character stuff that I really loved. And then it turned out, I discovered that he lived just north of New York City. I thought he would have been out in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles,
Yeah, he lived in Larchmont. And a friend of mine who wrote articles for film magazines said, I just did an interview with him. I'm going to give you his telephone number. And I called him up, and a couple of months later, I worked on, it was a David Bowie movie called The Hunger. It was like a kind of a new wave kind of vampire flick.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of my makeup career. And so I was a makeup artist about 13 years or so, maybe 14 years. And that was our lab was in New York. We got, against all odds, Warren Beatty hired us for Dick Tracy.
Yeah, Dick Tracy, great movie, by the way.
Well, Dick Tracy is what brought me to California.
Ah, okay.
And so we came out here. Warren helped get us in the union. It was, I guess when we were doing Dick Tracy, it was second season, probably TNG.
Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to be on that show more than anything.
Oh,
and,
yeah, of course. I understand it. But coincidence, when you joined Star Trek, I became a Star Trek fan in 1990. I was 5 years old on this
Oh,
year.
yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I watched the original series first run in black and white.
Oh, black and white. Oh, yeah. I saw here in Germany the pilot, The Cage in black and white. Old material in black and white and new material in a color, you know. This was a
that was the first way it was released until they found they restored it to full color.
Yeah. You met Gene in Lifetime, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you say about Gene today when you look back? What do you say about him? Was a great visionary or a galaxy of the bird, as people call him so?
Yeah, he was a great visionary, you know. I mean, look, Star Trek isn't really an original idea, you know. I mean, this type of thing has been around in written science fiction for long before Gene Roddenberry did it.
Yeah.
But it was the way that he put it together that made it special. And he also put a philosophy behind it. And, you know, it's like Star Wars. Star Wars is not original, you know. George Lucas took a lot of old stuff and repackaged it. Well, that's basically what Gene did.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Gene was a science fiction fan, and you could tell that by the way he did Star Trek. There was a lot of science, not a lot, but you know, at the same time there were shows like Lost in Space and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Time Tunnel, that were shows that were being done by someone who didn't really care.
Yeah.
Irwin Allen wasn't like a science fiction geek. He was just a big producer guy. You know, he wanted to make shows that kids would watch.
Yeah.
Gene came at it from a different perspective, and he tried to play it as serious as possible. But yeah, I mean, I was a really well-read kid. When I was a kid, I had read all the classics. You know, by the time I was 11, you know.
Yeah.
I was a literate science fiction fan, and so when Star Trek premiered, it was obvious.
Yeah.
Besides, in the first season there, and even a little into the second season, Gene hired science fiction writers to write scripts.
A lot of people. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think it turned out to be more of a hassle for him because guys who write novels, they're used to doing exactly what they want. It's their novel, you know. When you're a television writer, you have to be expected to be rewritten.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm blathering. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know the documentary Chaos on the Bridge, hosted by William Shatner?
I hated it.
Yeah, me too. But these people in this documentation say Gene was crazy, and no, he's not crazy. He was very proud of Star Trek. Is this? I mean,
the Chaos on the Bridge was a hatchet job.
Yeah.
It was just an act of character assassination. You know, it really bothered me. And you know, Herb Solow, who was a producer on the original series, wrote a book with Bob Justman called Inside Star Trek, that whenever it was Solow talking, you could tell that there was a lot of animosity there. You know? Now, I'm not saying that Gene was an angel, and I doubt that Herb Solow was, and William Shatner. Listen, you know, Bill Shatner should know better. Look at how many of his co-stars have, you know, gunned for him and said crappy things about him.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I like Bill Shatner, you know, but to me, it's a cheap shot to go for that sort of thing, you know, and it's just a matter of wanting to do something sensational that people will watch, you know.
And as Gene died in the series production, how was this for you and this team? Was this really grief, or War's salvation.
No, he was, you know, I mean, he was well liked by everybody on Next Generation. The cast loved him, and you know, everybody went to his memorial, and you know, it was a sad day. Unfortunately, he didn't take care of himself. He could have lived longer, you know.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Gene's an interesting guy. A lot of people, you know, I remember, you know, I know David Gerald, and we're friends and everything, but I've always thought that David tended to talk a lot of shit about Gene, saying that he just never knew what it was like to. This is the way he put it, not my words. He said that Gene was always a chief. He was never an Indian. His words. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
And it's totally not true. I mean, if you take a look at Gene's career, you'd see, for instance, there was a television show starring Richard Boone called Have Gun Will Travel.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a Western.
Yeah, Western, yeah.
Gene wrote 24 episodes of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's a writer who's been through the mill. You know, he wasn't just somebody who got to be a producer and push people around. It's not, you know, it's untrue. It bothers me when I read that.
Yeah, I met Gene never in my life, but I'm Gene very thankful to bring Star Trek in our world, and I believe when Gene today alive, he is very proud of Star Trek. I believe that really.
Well, I think that he would be proud of Star Trek up until about 2005. After that, I think he'd be very upset.
Yeah. Star Trek Discovery, you mean, especially.
He would, in my opinion, he wouldn't be liking it. But you know, who knows? Maybe he'd love it, but I don't think so.
On Star Trek Picard, you think Gene would love the second series of Picard? No? Yeah.
I don't think he'd like any of the JJ movies either.
Oh no! Oh God! The Abrams movie. You say a true word. That is not Star Trek. The Abrams movies is not Star Trek. You know, it's not Star Trek.
You know, Star Trek is. You know, I don't know what to say. The way I look at it is that we got like over 50 years of some really good Star Trek.
Yeah.
But you know, now we've got something that's they've pushed it towards Star Wars and a lot of, you know, characters who are angsty and dark and you know, I didn't see it, but I heard that on Picard they use the F word. I'll say it, fuck.
Yeah.
They said fuck, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm not an innocent, you know, I curse all the time, but the thing is that I always enjoyed watching Star Trek and knowing that they were better than us.
Yeah.
They were more evolved. They didn't have to act that way, you know?
Yeah.
So it's disappointing for me. They've kind of de-evolved people.
And yeah, you have right. The original Star Trek was begin from the cage and 2005. This was the original Star Trek.
Yeah.
And
then when you begin to disassemble everything that came before,
yeah.
You know, I think part of the reason that Star Trek has been so popular is because it has had, up until 2005, incredible continuity in not just who the characters are and where they've been, but aesthetically as well.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't change whenever we did a show with the original series Enterprise, we didn't change it. When we had the bridge from the Enterprise, we kept it exactly the same. Yeah, of course, I know that in a couple 100 years they're going to have holograms and there won't be any buttons, and you know. But I think that Star Trek has to be treated like it's in stone. People enjoy the continuity, and we can make exceptions for the technology looking primitive sometimes.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, that's just. Plenty of people like the new stuff, and I'm glad they're happy.
Yeah, I must say I like Star Trek Picard because this was a great story for me, but data is too much in the series, you know. But the best episode was the 7th episode to Picard reunion with Riker and Troy. This was the best episode of the whole series, of the whole season, you know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
This one, and it's a great story. And they have 2 kids. The one kid is no, not.
Oh, don't tell. I don't want
Okay,
to.
okay,
It's
okay.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to know anything.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
It hurts.
I respect that. I respect that.
It hurts
Yeah.
me.
So tell us before the Star Trek, how was the end for you on Star Trek Enterprise?
What did I think of the final episode? Is that what you're saying?
About Gone Forever. And the fourth season is the last season.
Well, I was sorry to see the show end. I thought that they went the wrong direction on Enterprise. There was a lot of good stuff, but, frankly, my issue with Enterprise was that it was supposed to be one of the first ships to go out there. And instead, within a couple of weeks, they were pretty much back to where they'd been with Ferengis and Klingons.
Yeah.
And, if I was running the show, I wouldn't have even had an alien for a year.
Yeah.
There'd be rumors of aliens. You wouldn't even see one. I was sorry to see it end, but it was a good thing for me.
Okay.
Because I went to Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
If I didn't go to Battlestar Galactica, I wouldn't have had that experience. And I also have a couple of Emmys from working on Battlestar Galactica. Would I want to sacrifice? If someone said, "Well, here's your choice: we either keep Star Trek on. If we keep it on, though, you don't get any Emmys."
Okay.
And I have to say, no, you could go ahead, cancel it.
Yeah.
I'll take the Emmys, please.
What season of Enterprise is for you the best?
Well, I thought that when Manny Koto came in, the show started to spark up, because Manny was an original series fan, big original series fan.
Yeah.
And he started bringing in,
season 4.
Stuff
season
that
4,
Season 4, yeah. I think one of my favorite episodes of all was one that Manny wrote. It was the one where, I can't remember the name.
In the Mirror Darkly, you mean?
Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
But the episode that was most affecting.
The great episode, Doc. Great episode. In the Mirror Darkly, great episode.
Yeah, those were great. We got to do original series sets again. But the episode that I think touched me more than any other episode was one that Manny wrote, where Trip is injured, and Dr. Phlox has this kind of pod that he could grow another Trip from, and they could farm.
You mean in the Cindy season?
I can't remember what it was called.
I can research that.
The guy grows up and falls in love with T'Pol, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, Trip was cloned. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Yeah, this was a really great episode, and it touched me well. But the clone Trip on the end have so much tears, and I say, oh God, I'm so sorry, this guy is no more. And it was a hard episode,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was really great.
And I believe the Cindy season was important for the series.
Yeah,
I love the arc, and it is a great story, and at the end, great season finale. The weapon explode and Captain Archer walk on the Earth in World War II, and this was a great series finale, and Enterprise season 4. I like the most is more community to the Star Trek we know. This was a great part for it. And let me guess, I read from Michael's the makeup designer on Star Trek. He was his name, Herman Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I read the last episode on Star Trek Next Generation was the hardest makeup episode in the whole series. Is that true?
Say that again?
So, Herman Zimmerman say the last episode on Star Trek was for the makeup decision the hardest episode of the whole season for the makeup.
Makeup?
Yeah.
You mean Mike Westmore?
Yeah, in the last episode for Next Generation with Q. And Herman Zimmerman say this was the hardest episode for the makeup for the people.
No, Herman didn't do makeup. Herman was the art director, production designer.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Mike Westmore.
Yeah. Nah, this is interesting, But Riker, he has so much makeup in his face as older Riker in the last episode of Next Generation, you know, and this is so evil look, you know, and
there was some really nice makeup in that last show. Mike had brought in Kevin Haney, and Kevin does really beautiful old age makeup.
yeah. You joined Deep Space Nine and Voyager 2, and you made for my greatest Star Trek movie ever. My favorite Star Trek Generations is my favorite movie. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. While the story is good.
Well, I'm glad they had the Enterprise D in it. I'm sorry they destroyed it.
Yeah. That heartbreak me too when this when the Enterprise crashed on Freudian Free. Oh God, my heart was breaking. But Picard meet Kirk. This was great, really great, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love the movie really, and yeah, we lost so many actors in the last few years. Odo is no more, Nock is no more with us, and this is so sad. So great actors, you know, and so great people. I never met Odo by Nock. I saw him once, and he's so great. Aaron Eisenberg. He's a great guy, you know.
Yeah, sweet guy.
And say to me, very thankful Ollie to the words to me, say as he said to me, and then of course, and you're the best Ferengi ever in the Star Trek history. And
Armin and Max are great, huh?
Yeah, Rome, you mean? Yeah, Quark, yeah, Quark was the greater barman on Deep Space Nine, you know, and. What you say? What Star Trek series was the best for you to make you hold skills what you have?
Well, I mean, I did something different on all of them. You know, I mean, TNG, I did makeup, and DS9 I did graphics, and then on Enterprise I was illustrator, and then on Voyager it was mostly working at Foundation Imaging, visual effects, and they're all.
Yeah.
They were all fun. I enjoyed doing all of them.
And shall you the people say Rick Berman was to blame the Star Trek ends in 2005? Is that true? Is that true?
No.
I think that's so. I believe Rick to all what he can do for Star Trek, you know, and he gave us the best Star Trek ever. I know.
Oh, Rick made Star Trek a success. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The problem, what happened, see, Enterprise had fine ratings. It had better ratings than Galactica did.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But the problem was it was a political issue. That Rick Berman and Les Moonves, when CBS took over, that brought Les Moonves in. Les Moonves and Rick Berman, they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
And so there was a that was the root of it, was the fact that Berman and Les Moonves despised one another. That's what did it.
What episode from Star Trek, the last episode, is your favorite?
The last finale episode?
Yeah.
Oh, All Good Things, of course.
Yeah, cool. That's great, great.
Oh, yeah, All Good Things, great.
But Voyager was too easy, the final episode, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't come close to All Good Things. All Good Things was an epic ending.
But Deep Space Nine too, I think. Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, Deep Space Nine, it was well done.
And this, but Deep Space Nine was a really a new way for Star Trek, but it was important for the whole franchise, you know. I believe that today Deep Space Nine was so important for the franchise.
Oh yeah, you know, I mean, when we first did Deep Space Nine, the fans hated it. I got more flack from people about how we were screwing up Star Trek with Deep Space Nine, and but by about the third season, you know, it usually took those shows like 3 26-episode seasons to really get going. People who stuck with it they loved it. And then people who eventually went back said, "Oh my God, it's so good! I can't believe I didn't like it." You know. But yeah, DS9. It was a great show. You know, you had Ron Moore producing on it and writing. You had Ira Bear. You know, Brandon and Rick went on to you know, do Voyager and kind of left the kids in charge of Deep Space Nine. And I mean, we got to do Trials and Tribulations on that show.
Yeah.
That was a high watermark for the show.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, the 100th episode from Deep Space Nine, to the classic reference with the triples, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the last scene in this episode is great, and Cisco and Jax visit Odo and see all the triples, and Cisco say, "Have you tell him? No. Have you suggestion, gentlemen? Yeah, we can build a new station." That was so. And Quark have a tribble on his head. That was so funny. I really enjoyed it. And
yeah, it was. We were lucky to get.
I must say, the first 3 seasons from Deep Space Nine was better on Voyager. Voyager, the first 3 seasons, not so great. I think Deep Space Nine better.
You know, the problem with Voyager was the same problem with Enterprise.
Okay.
And basically, they put the ship on the other side of the universe to make things different. Yeah. Before you knew it, it was pretty much the same stuff. There were good episodes, but you know, there was a certain point where the studio didn't want to experiment too much. You know, it's like they had a show that worked, and if you tried to make it too different or too offbeat, you get pushback for it. I mean, for instance, Voyager, when they were experimenting with designs, anything that went away from a saucer and the cells made the studio nervous, you know. I mean, for instance, if we were doing another Starship show and the design was the Defiant from Deep Space Nine, the studio wouldn't have allowed it. But the fact that Deep Space Nine was not about the Defiant, you know, it wasn't as important. It didn't have their focus on it.
Yeah, I think by Voyager was season 4 was great. Season 5, I like it very much. The 100th episode, Temporal Paradoxin, Timeless is the 100th episode from Voyager, and Geordi came back. This was so great, a so great camo, you know. Geordi came back in the 100th episode of Voyager, and Chakotay and Harry is so feast and have a Borg transmitter and change the time. It was great episode. I like it very much. But season 6 was a really bad season. And season 7, season 7 was for me a best of from Voyager whole the 7 seasons, you know. So Seska came back for an episode, and Chakotay made a time travel to different Voyagers periods. It was a great final season. But TNG final season was really great, and I remember one producer say in the final season in TNG about family, only family, you know. So much episode. Wesley came back, and Alexander, the son from Worf, came back as an adult, you know, and this was a great episode. And I loved the episode to Beverly and Picard. They're connected with their heads, you know. Remember that episode? And this was for me a great episode, really great. But the discussion about the feelings, and they love each other, and that's really great. And I watched the TNG finale. I remember for the first time. I don't understand in the first time. I watched them 3 times and don't understand. And yeah, great final episode. So much closer, and the poker scene on the last scene on the series was great. And he played poker, and the sky is the limit. Really great, really great.
Yeah,
and
great job.
What do you think about the last Star Trek Enterprise episode? This one wasn't a good episode, or
I didn't watch it.
no, you watch it?
That's one of the episodes. I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I didn't watch it. I had heard such bad things about it from everybody that I was like, I don't want to ruin my, the final episode, even though I'm actually cameo in it. I have a cameo in it. I have not seen it from beginning to end. I will, but on the other hand, I'll tell you that there are a number of TNG episodes that I haven't seen. I wanted to save some when the show was coming to an end. I said, imagine if I came across an original series episode I'd never seen before. How exciting that would be. And so I didn't watch like 3 TNG episodes with the idea in mind of seeing them 20 years later, and that they knew. With the last episode of Enterprise, I didn't watch it because I was disappointed in it. I didn't think killing Trip was a good idea.
No. That was really bad. That hurt me really, really bad. That break my heart. It break my heart really.
Yeah.
And
I think even Brandon Braga,
yeah,
feels the same way.
But you say me in a Facebook message, this was great in the last episode to work with Riker and Troy again. You say me on Facebook. You remember?
Well, I mean, they were actually in the scene I was in. But the thing is that the Next Generation cast, I was very close to, having been a makeup artist. When you're a makeup artist, you're in the makeup trailer with them all the time, and you're touching them up on stage and stuff. So, I have a lot of affection for that cast.
I see. I meet Denise Crosby last year here in Germany.
Yeah, she's great.
And we have a great photo together, and she signed my Unification Blu-ray box, and she's so grateful and all the time. I visit and at the con anytime and say hello and how are you feeling? It's good here in Germany, and they say it's great, really great, and she's so a great person. I was so sad Denise was out from the series in season 1.
Well, that was her choice.
Yeah. Well, she say she was 50 hours on the set, and she say 1 or 2 words in one scene, and that's all, But it's what a good thing to bring her back as her daughter, This was a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think she should have stuck it out a little longer. They would have found things to do with her.
Yeah. She's a really great person, really great. And
yeah,
have you TNG castmates, friends have for you? Is Jonathan Frakes your friends, by the way, or have you all friends with them?
Well, I see them at conventions, whenever I go, but we don't hang out or anything. I mean, on the other hand, behind the scenes people, are still very close friends that I see regularly, like Mike and Denise Okuda, our family,
There's so much fan series from Star Trek out there, but for me, Star Trek continues the real fan series, and the last season of Star Trek, the original series. What do you think too? So,
say that again.
Okay, so
you broke up.
Sorry, just a moment. So much fan series out there from Star Trek. For me, Star Trek continues the best and the really true fan work. Star Trek continues.
Yeah, I worked on like the first 3 or 4. I'm not sure if I did 3 or 4 of them. And yeah, best acted, most professional.
And the best fan series ever I saw. When you asked me, and what do you think? Think you like Gene would like this continuous series?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't seen them after the 4th one. I don't know where they went from there. But I think that it was the closest to the original series that I'd seen.
The mirror episode was the best on the whole series. The episode continue in the Mirrorverse when the Kirk back in the universe. Fairest Them All
Right.
is the episode called. And this was the best episode on Star Trek Continues, when you asked me.
I don't know if I
It's
saw
a
that
good
one.
episode you find on YouTube. Watch it, it's great. It's a great continuous story from the original one. And that you remember the last scene on the Mirror episode from original series from the Mirror universe, and Kirk say to Spock, you can make a difference that one man can change the future.
Right. Maybe
Yeah.
I was on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I was. Yes, I was on that
Yeah.
one. That's right.
And this
I
scene
was.
played the actors in Star Trek Continue again, and then the good
Yeah.
Kirk walk and beam up, and the evil Kirk came back, and the story continues. And she must is so great with so much heart to the original series, and it's really great, really great. I enjoy every episode, and I can say watch it. It's really worth it, really great, really great. And yeah, and you join later Battlestar Galactica. You reimagine the series from the original one, and
Yeah, it's so much better than the original show.
yeah,
Not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, when they brought me on to Galactica, when Gary Hutzel asked me to come to Galactica, I said, I'm going to go. I watched it when it was first on. I'm going to go get the whole set. I'm going to watch them all and know them by heart. Oh my God. By about the fourth one, I
Yeah.
couldn't watch anymore. They were so much for kids, and the people were not real, I mean, I remember, I think it was that the Caprica was totally destroyed by the Cylons, and within the same episode, they were partying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Galactica, the thing was that Galactica was a descendant of Star Trek. Because we had Gary there, I was there. Ron Moore was the head writer and producer of the show, and basically wanted to do, when they said DS9 was going to be dark and gritty, well, it really wasn't. But Galactica was truly dark and gritty, and the acting and the writing, it was just, it's a landmark. They'll be looking at that years from now, and it's still going to be just as wonderful. Original Galactica, well, what can I say? It was done by Glenn Larson.
Great man.
Who he was like Irwin Allen. He wasn't a science fiction fan. He was just wanted to make a show the kiddies would watch.
Yeah.
He used to be a singer.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to be a singer. I spoke to Glenn Larson. As a science fiction fan, I think he set science fiction back quite a bit. I mean, he did Buck Rogers, which was another one, a show I couldn't watch it.
And Knight Rider from Grand.
Knight Rider, see, the show's for the kiddies.
Yeah.
These are shows for the kiddies, and he's a businessman. I totally get it, but as a real science fiction fan, I was mostly offended by everything that he did.
But many fans say from the original Galactica series, they stole them from Star Wars, and otherwise the Galactica fans say Star Wars stole from Galactica.
Well, how could Star Wars steal from? Did Star Wars? No, Galactica always came after Star Wars.
Things simple, similar, the Vipers, similar to the X-wing fighter.
Yeah, they were cashing. There's no doubt. Look, I told you, it's Glenn Larson. Glenn Larson was cashing in. He's gone now, so I'm not going to hurt his feelings. But he was cashing in on Star Wars. Everyone knew it. It wasn't a secret, But the idea of, I think that Ron Moore fixed it. I think that he took it and made it something really important.
That's the word.
It really is. Oh my God, the actors, they were so freaking good. I remember how fans of the original series were losing their minds because Starbuck was going to be a woman.
Yeah,
She was
was
awesome. She was
but it was
awesome.
strange in the first place for me. I remember Dirk Benedict as Starbuck, and I saw in Galactica Starbuck was a woman. Oh, okay, this is strange. But she was awesome, badass, great, awesome, great. I love it, really. She was great, really great, I must say. And you made on the first Star Trek movie the effects from the remaster version, How was this for you?
The remastering of the originals?
Sorry. You made the remaster work of the Star Trek the motion picture.
Oh, I was part of the
team. How was this for you to make this original one from Star Trek to remastering?
Well, I was on the crew, but I was just starting out in visual effects. I was really a neophyte, and I felt lucky to be there, and it was, but I was not a major player on the thing. I did a few little things on it. I thought that the work, visual effects wise, was beautiful. It fit right in. But if you want to talk about the remastering of the original series, I can't even watch it. I can't even watch those visuals. They tear me right out of the show.
You have right. I hate the remaster version of the original series. The original.
There's a disconnect from the visual effects to the.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I watched from the remastered version the episode Patterns of Force. The Nazi episode, and I saw the remaster effect. And I say on my television, before my television, I say, "You kidding me? That's not Star Trek anymore. The remaster effect must all destroy the things from the past, And I was really shocked, really shocked,
Well, it's disturbing for me because I can't watch Star Trek when it airs on television anymore because they show the remasters. And I can't look at those.
That's gross.
They just rip me right out of the show.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They don't connect. I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have shot it all with motion control and a physical model. And I wouldn't have gone that far off from what they did on the show. I would have only just cleaned it up.
Yeah, all the hard work is gone with the remastering. All the hard work from the people's work.
Yeah, that's a sin. I think that's really a sin. Or the people who slaved over that show and their work is taken out of it. And what gets me is that the original series Enterprise, it's good enough for the Smithsonian, but it wasn't good enough for the remastered.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same kind of disconnect that led to J.J. Abrams and Discovery.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I believe Star Trek is the take Star Trek and so much dark, serious, and so much angry people on the show. No, it's not Star Trek anymore. You're so right with this, So really good. But I must say, I watched Discovery season 1. I was curious, I was curious. Not a fan, but 9 years from Kirk and so much modern design. No way. Okay, I watched season 1, and okay, it was okay, but no connecting to before Archer, not connected to next to Kirk, no, not connection any time. And I say, you kidding me? 9 years before Kirk, and you not tell about everything about him, and this is so sad, And this really shocked me. And season 2, oh God, horrible. And all the fans out there say, make a Captain Pike series. They're insane. That is not Captain Pike anymore. That is some actor that play him, And Jeffrey Hunter was the original Pike. And this guy, as Anson Mount is his name, I believe, is the actor from the new Pike. Kidding me, And, oh yeah, I that's what I tell you this. They made one episode in Discovery season 2 to walk to Talos 4, you know, and all remove, all change. That's my heart so breaking. Talos 4, the menagerie. This was a great episode, really great episode, and that destroyed all of them. The effect, you made a new Pike, new Talos, the new, oh god, gross, you know, and it's really heartbreaking. And on Star Trek Picard, I want to say one thing to you. To bring Data back was a big mistake. For me, it was okay. Brent was go away from the role, and he died in Nemesis. Okay, that was okay for me. I will not needed him back. You know, that is for me is my opinion. And so much fans and Paramount say Star Trek Nemesis was a fail movie. No, I love that. I love Star Trek Nemesis. It was a great movie when you asked me. Or what you say about Star Trek Nemesis. Was it a great movie?
I'm lukewarm about it. It was okay. It should. I mean, for me, of the Next Generation movies, I enjoyed Generations because I got to see the TV series practically lifted intact to the big screen. That was great. But after that, First Contact is terrific. I mean, that's a movie that holds up. It's lots of fun to watch.
What is your favorite Star Trek movie? Yeah, it's a hard question.
Well, Wrath of Khan, of course. Everyone loves Wrath of Khan.
Of course, yeah.
I enjoy Star Trek the Motion Picture, but I enjoy it in the same way that I enjoy 2001. I think both of those movies are very lethargic. They're slow. They need a good, they're kind of self-indulgent in that way. I thought Wrath of Khan became more of what Star Trek was, a Star Trek that when I saw the motion picture, I felt like I hardly knew those guys anymore.
Yeah.
They had changed. They didn't even know each other when they saw each other again, But in Wrath of Khan, it was like Nicholas Meyer hit it, he and Harv Bennett really hit it on the head. They brought back the fun of Star Trek. So Star Trek 4 is wonderful. Star Trek 5, I don't care about. Star Trek 6, I thought 6 was going off the rails a little bit,
But was a great closure for the original crew, Star Trek 6. Was a was a great final,
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about 6. It was just okay. There was stuff in it that, they... Spock looking for the boots was the goofiest damn thing. I mean, come on. You think that there's only about 6 million ways to get rid of a pair of boots. You could utterly destroy them. They're not going to be hidden somewhere. He's going to turn the whole ship upside down looking for the boots. It just didn't make any sense. I think they were trying to do the scene from the Kane Mutiny. You ever see the Kane Mutiny with Humphrey Bogart? Yeah. The captain was nuts, and there were in the mess, someone ate strawberries that were supposed to be rationed, and Humphrey Bogart went on the great, he went hunting. They turned the whole ship upside down, looking for a key that went to the locker that the strawberries were stolen from. And I think that's what they were shooting for, but it just didn't make any sense to me.
Can you remember the shoot to Unification Part 1? Can you remember on this episode?
Oh yeah, I was on stage for that. I was standing right there with Leonard Nimoy, Patrick Stewart, and Brent made up.
It was a great episode.
For me, it was a dream come true. Everybody signed my script, my copy of the script. I got Nimoy on there. It was a good episode. Oh, and of course, Malachi Throne returned to Star Trek and played. He was a Romulan senator or something, I think. But Malachi and I went on to be great friends. We used to see each other all the time. I remember when I went in the makeup trailer and he was sitting in the makeup chair, and I addressed him as Commodore Mendez. and he was so delighted that I knew. But I mean, he was a good friend of mine after that, and he was part of a circle of friends.
Oh
Barbara
yeah,
Luna,
yeah, Barbara, yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Forbes,
yeah.
close friends of mine. But Malachi's gone now.
What
Sorry.
is your favorite classic episode?
Well, of course, I
Oh
love City
yeah,
Ninja
yeah,
Forever, and I
yeah.
think that's one
Great, great.
ever. But the episode that really hits me and is touching, and as I get older, I get more sentimental about it, almost to tears,
Ah,
is
yeah, yeah,
Metamorphosis.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's such a wonderful, sweet story about love, But I guess those are my two favorites. But there's others I love for different reasons. I mean, they did some funny episodes that I really,
Oh
of course,
yeah, yeah,
Tribbles, and Piece of
yeah,
the
yeah,
Action, the
yeah.
gangsters,
On
uh,
the planet, yeah, the
they,
gangster episode. Oh yeah, it was great. Oh, really great, really great. Yeah,
yeah, they did lots of good shows. I mean, the third season, of course, was the weakest one,
yeah.
although there were a couple that I liked in the third season. Um, First season, I think, was pure as far
Yeah,
as
yeah,
being a science fiction show. But I mean, Gene L. Kuhn took on a lot of the rewriting chores and stuff on season 2, and Kuhn was known for military comedies, so that's where the humor started coming into the shows.
yeah,
You
yeah.
remember
Of
McHale's
course,
Navy,
remember. Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine? The
Oh,
pilot
okay,
was written by
okay.
Gene Kuhn.
Whoa. Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so wow. And Deep Space Nine, what's your favorite episode? I think the Tribble episode, Or
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's the pinnacle. But there were lots of good shows. Some really good
yeah, and
episodes.
Voyager, yeah, it was to bring the Borg in Voyager. This was too easy, Uh, I believe that was so. The authors and the scriptwriter was desperate, and they bring the Borg on the show.
Well, it's just like I said. The shows would set out. Well, we're going to go to the other side of the universe, and everything will be new, and it isn't. And Enterprise was like, well, we're going to go back to the very beginning, and everything will be new, but it wasn't. And for me, it's seemed like an obvious error, but
Yeah,
who knows?
I must say, when Voyager, yeah, for me the Kazon was the greatest enemy in Voyager, and I was so sad they walked the show. I really loved them. I loved Kazon, March Kala, and Seska. The bad evil on the show. And I was so sad they leave the show. Really, really. I loved the two characters so much, and the Kazon was the great species, and for this Delta Quadrant was so epic.
Yeah, I mean, I miss the Star Trek that I once knew when it was on track, and I miss my friends. I miss working with Mike and Denise. I miss working with Herman. I miss seeing Mike Westmore, Bob Blackman. Ultimately, it's about your friends.
And for you, what was for you better? Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, or all the things what you done?
Oh, they're like, I love Galactica. I love Star Trek too. Star Trek is extra close to my heart because Star Trek is the reason I ended up being who I am and how I got into the business. It was my interest in Star Trek that got me interested in, how films were made. The Making of Star Trek was an important book to me, So that is always going to be ground zero for me. But, when you work across a number of different shows, you'll love them for different reasons. I mean, I love Orville. I'm thrilled to be on Orville, and I have a family of friends there, and in a lot of ways, it's much more like Star Trek. So I'm happy to see that. Orville is a happy universe that's optimistic and it sparkles, and so that's great. I love that.
What you think was the piece of you important on Star Trek? Your work, your friends, or all of them? What was the important thing for you? All of them.
Well, all of them. Nothing's more important than your friends, but all of it overall.
And can you tell me when you met Barbara Luna for the first time?
Yeah, it was for a Star Trek New Voyages episode. There's an episode called In Harm's Way that I got in. You see, I had met James Cawley when he was just starting to build like one station. And I was just learning CG at the time. And I said, well, when you do your episode, I'll do shots for you. And it turned out he really did an episode and built sets. So there was in it, Decker had survived the Doomsday Machine. And you catch up with him on Earth in the late 20th century. And he's living with Barbara Luna.
I remember, yeah.
So basically we got Luna for the show. We're still, we're like pals.
Yeah, she's a great person. And she played a great role in the original series. It's always my favorite episode with her.
Oh, yeah, she's my favorite Star Trek babe. She was.
Yeah, cheers, bro. Cheers. Very thank you for joining us on my podcast. I made the interview in 3 days ready and stay on YouTube. I sent you the link. And
okay, thank you.
Please a pic from you. I need that for the video picture.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do. I'll send you one with a bald head.
And stay healthy, Doug, and take care of you, and we stay in contact.
Okay, yeah, you too.
Live long and
Thanks
prosper.
for the chat.
Thank you.
And you.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Welcome back. Yeah, for English readers after the German. Yeah, hallo guys, willkommen zurück. Wow, das war unglaublich, wirklich. 1 Stunde, ich hätte gerne länger mit ihm gesprochen, aber vielen, vielen Dank, Doug. Es war wirklich, wirklich toll. Ja, und für alle, die zugehört haben, Leute, also kann man ein besseres Interview haben mit jemandem, der wirklich tiefen Einblick in das wahre Star Trek hatte? Ich glaube nicht. Und eins sage ich euch, er macht gerade ein Buch, was seine Frau, die hat ja das Essen an Star Trek Enterprise gemacht, da macht er gerade ein Kochbuch davon und der wird es auch verkaufen. Allerdings nur sind Fans und Familie. Ich kann es euch nur empfehlen, das Kochbuch. Wir sind gespannt. Und ich sage, dranbleiben, Hoodies, wir sind bald zurück und ich hoffe wirklich, dass wir bald zurück sind. Ja, ich wünsche euch jetzt erstmal viel Spaß und natürlich mit der nächsten Ausgabe direkt im Anschluss folgt Ausgabe. Ja, was? Ja, das war 36. Aber jetzt danach kommt die 37. So. Yeah, guys, here's Ollie from Hoodie. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining the podcast and listen to my podcast episode 3.6 with Doug Drexler from Star Trek. Yeah, he's always a great man and so much creative stuff he's doing on Star Trek, on Battlestar Galactica, and this is so epic, guys. And I ask you, more Star Trek, ultimate Star Trek in you. No, this is the ultimate, the ultimate Star Trek interview I ever made in my podcast history. Thank you for joining. When you give me a subscribe or follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I really like having you and safe, live long and prosper. Thank you, Trekkies. So, wir machen bald weiter. Auch wir haben gerade ein bisschen Stillstand, jetzt war 1 Monat Pause, aber dafür kommen jetzt 2 Interviews am Stück. Danke, dass ihr zugehört habt. Ich habe mich wirklich sehr gefreut. Und ja, 5 Jahre Hoodie stehen trotz allem an. Bleibt gesund. Ja, und es wird dann bald eine Review-Show geben. Dazu aber später mehr. Schlaft gut, Hoodies, und bis bald. Ciao, ciao. Es war der 27.05. und das war Ollie von Hoodie.